Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to the aftermarket analysis session as usual. This is an aftermarket analysis session. After the market closes, after the Indian market closes, we look at where the buyer's interest was, where the seller's interest was, and how to read the footprint well. We try to do this. No call tips are given here. Since it's aftermarket, we just look at the aftermarket to see how and where on the footprint. We try to see some confirmations and read the footprint well. If you want to learn order flow or want to learn how to use GoCharting, well, you can join this live session every day at 5 p.m. The link for this live session is uploaded in the GoCharting Telegram and Discord community before 5 p.m. And there is also a notification on the right side where the GoCharting charts open. Just click there and you will find the link. You can also join from here. If, for any reason you are unable to join this live session, you can also join the GoCharting YouTube channel. Okay. And we have created separate YouTube channels for almost every language. If you search for GoCharting Hindi, you will find a dedicated channel for Hindi, and links for all other languages will be available in the description. You will also find links to the community. You can go there and join as well. This is a playlist that we have just launched. It will be quite helpful for you on how to become a professional trader. If you are a new beginner, every concept of order flow has been explained quite well in Hindi. You all should definitely watch this video once before starting the video. Before reading the footprint properly, we look at where the volume profile was giving us confirmation for the past few sessions. Okay. Like these lines that are drawn are based on the behavior of the volume profile. So, how was the volume profile giving us any confirmation? Like, yesterday's VIPIC zone was here and this was the volume node. Okay, so we marked these volume nodes. Okay, in this case, if it breaks out from here, based on the last few sessions, this zone was quite important. The volume profile is giving us confirmation here on the right side. So we had given confirmation to these volume profiles. This value area high and value area low, in this case, if it breaks to the downside. Then we had this volume node. And as we go down, these were the volume nodes that could act as support. Okay, so this was the volume profile confirmation, yesterday's confirmation, and then we took confirmations from the past few sessions. Now, here on the 5-minute time frame, we look at where the buyer's interest was and where the seller's interest was. Before reading the footprint, we need to know what delta is because, with the help of delta, we are going to read the footprints here. Now, what is delta? Delta is the difference between buyers and sellers, meaning where the difference between buyers and sellers is like 1. Okay, like the first candle, what was the delta of this first candle? It came out to be approximately positive 60,000. So, positive delta always denotes buyers. Sorry, positive delta always denotes buyers. So, anywhere within the green box, if you find a positive delta, positive data means there is no negative sign. Then understand that this is positive delta, and this positive delta denotes buyers. So, what is the value of this positive delta here? 60,000. So, this delta tells us that within the first candle, there are more buyers, around 60,000, as compared to sellers. Let's look at the next candle. It's in the red box, and there is a negative sign in front of the value. So, this will be negative delta. Negative data always denotes sellers. So, that means what is the value of data within this candle? 80,000. Within this particular candle, there were 80,000 more sellers as compared to buyers. What was the delta of the first candle? 60,000. And what was this delta? Positive delta. So that means within the first candle, who were more? Buyers were more. Within the next candle, who were more? Sellers were more. This data told us that. Meaning, The essence of each candle is coming out. And what is that essence? Who is more powerful within that particular candle, the buyer or the seller? And in any case, if delta is zero, buyers are equal, like if there are 100,000 sellers, and within the same candle, 160,000 were bought. So how many more buyers are there? 60,000. The essence is that there are more buyers. So the same delta will show us here. Now, how to read this? How will this help us in reading our footprint? Let's see this delta now. Like what's more inside the first candle? There are more buyers. Every day. There's more buying activity inside the first candle. So every day, watch the first candle very carefully. If you see then, with some level, if there's any confirmation, it will be very solid. Like this was the value area high, which could act as resistance because the market was below it. And what confirmation did it give here? Buying happened inside this candle. We saw the delta. Now, on the footprint, on the right side, there are almost always buyers. And on the left side, there are always sellers. Who is more in this candle? What did the delta indicate? There are more buyers. How many more? 60,000. Now let's look at that particular point, where the buying activity was the highest. Where was the most? Buying on the buying side. 9. Buying of T6. Buying of 68. Buying of N24. This is the place where the most buying happened. Exactly above the resistance. If the resistance is okay, at the same level above the resistance. Now, what happened after the buying? After 10 meters of buying, what movement did the next 23 candles show? Where did they show movement? That matters. What did the next candle do? From that buy zone, this buy zone, and a negative delta was observed. The next candle again moved down from this buying zone, and again selling was observed. It means buying happened above the resistance, and the next 2 candles confirm that the buying that happened here was absorbed. Now, wherever you see buying absorption, it means buying. And the price reverses from there. After the buying activity, the price goes down. So it means the buying was absorbed. And now this buying will act more as a resistance rather than support, since the price went down from the buyers. It will now act as a resistance. Now, in the next candle, the second candle of today, there was a twist that came out. Those who regularly join the webinars often ask, what to do with maximum delta and minimum delta? What happened today? How low did the minimum delta go? You see, when a candle is forming, like on a 5-minute time frame, while the candle was forming for 5 minutes, let's say it reached a point where the delta was around minus 50,000. But as soon as the candle's closing time came, within the next 2 to 3 minutes, buyers came in again, and by the time it closed, what happened to this candle's delta? It became minus 4,000, meaning at one point there were 50,000 more sellers, but by the time it closed, only 4,000 more sellers remained. This means someone bought 46,000, but at one point, there were around 50,000 here. Let's see. Sellers had come in. At one point, this was the selling activity, but in the next moment, what was the delta? The minimum delta was around 50,000 to 51,000, around 51,000. But by the time it closed, it was 4,000. At one point here, this selling activity happened. But in the very next moment, buying activity also occurred here. So what happened here was that sellers came. Buyers came, and then in the next candle, what happened? Again, sellers came in. So what happened here was that sellers attempted to push the market down. Then buyers completed it by engaging in buying activity to push the price up. And then in the next candle, what happened? Again, sellers came in. Understand, selling happened. Buying happened, and then again sellers came in. These were more powerful sellers. And more powerful because even after the buying activity, they didn't stop selling and completely ended the buying activity. Okay, so here in this candle, what does this zone tell us? This zone indicates that selling happened here. Buying happened, and then sellers came in. So this is the zone where the most transactions occurred, where there was a significant battle between buyers and sellers. Okay, then again in the next candle, what happened? Look, sellers had an 80k delta, and the most selling happened below this zone. And again in the next candle, sellers came in around 30,000, again around 26,000, and again around 5,000. This was the zone where there was a significant fight between buyers and sellers. Sellers entered and, again sellers entered, and again sellers entered. A pullback happened around the same zone with only 10,000 buying, which is very little buying in Nifty. Always pick those delta candles, the candles with a delta above 30,000, whether on the positive side or the negative side. We will consider only those candles as having some buying and selling activity. Okay, continuous selling, 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 selling. Okay, a slight buying was observed. But again in the next candle, look at this negative delta, meaning there was no buying activity, and a proper pullback occurred. Again, the price moved in a selling nature. This was the highest selling zone. Even selling at 27k happened here. Okay, where was the next target? It easily achieved this target up to here. Selling came again. If you want to mark it, selling at 27k and 47k happened once. Now look again. A maximum delta of 26,000 means there was a buying attempt in this candle. But by the time the candle closed, the delta was only 2,000, meaning 24,000 sellers came back. And the next few candles confirmed that the buying that happened within this candle was absorbed this time because, simply put, there was buying of 20,000, 15,000, 25,000, and sellers entered within this candle. Again, there was a selling pullback, buying happened. But this candle confirmed that buying was absorbed here too. Okay. Again we saw another downside movement. This was the place where the heaviest delta was seen recently, around 96. And this delta was on the selling side. It's simple. If the selling side has a large delta, we will only look at the seller's side. Okay, there was selling of 101k. Now mark the dead zone. There was selling of 101k, 22k. Again, the next candle held. Again there was selling in the next candle. Again selling. And it broke this support zone. It broke this zone. There was a pullback again. At the selling zones, there is no buying interest anywhere. There is no buying interest anywhere. There was a pullback, and a slight rejection was also observed. Now look. There was buying of 27k, buying of 40k. Buying happened right above the exact resistance. Okay, and this resistance was broken with significant buying. This resistance was broken, and there was substantial buying activity. Where did it happen? There was buying activity of 34k. A pin-to-pin pullback occurred, and an upward movement was observed. Now, the twist was that there were quite a few selling zones formed here. The biggest selling zone was this one. Then there was this selling zone, and even bigger than that, which was the largest selling zone, was here. And in the next two candles, there was a very large selling on one side and a complete selling on the other side. This was the biggest selling here. When the biggest selling is broken, okay, then there are chances. If an uptrend comes, even if you don't see an uptrend up to this point, the market went up to here by buying from here. If a pullback comes, then the path up to here is cleared, and it could go up to here. There was another sharp buying, a significant buying. Okay, look at this. Buying happened at 45, and a pullback was taken there. A slight sideways movement was also observed. And where did it finally close? In the initial start of Nifty, where there was the most significant tussle between buyers and sellers, a good fight took place. So, if we look at a good conclusion for Nifty today, what was it? There was a buying absorption at the seller center, which was pulled Significantly, on the downside, sellers entered again. During the pullback, buying activity occurred, but buying absorption happened again, leading to a downtrend. This was the zone. Buying of 1.01 lakh occurred at a particular price. There was a slight pullback, and a slight downtrend was also rejected from here. The same above this level. Significantly, buying came in, broke through, and a pullback occurred. Again, sideways movement. Again, significantly. In this candle, buying came in and a pullback occurred. In the upside movement, it means every buying and selling zone was well respected today. Okay. Now if we look at Bank Nifty, if we see there wasn't anything particularly solid in Bank Nifty today, what happened was positive delta. Positive delta. But all the buying remained concentrated in one place. Here, it faced rejection from here. Again, in the upside movement, the biggest buying happened here. Buying of 20 at a particular price. But, again, all in one place, meaning just one. This was the particular place where all the buying was happening. All the buying was here, absorbed. And buying absorption. As soon as it was completed, a significant downtrend occurred. But, according to the concepts of order flow, if you trade on pullbacks, then any area where buying absorption occurs, when that same area holds during a pullback without any buying activity, you can proceed. But here, we didn't see such a solid pullback. Just buying absorption happened. Okay, and then there was selling. Here, around the 23K mark, there was selling of about 12K. And that selling was quite well absorbed. After the selling absorption, there was a slight upward movement, meaning Bank Nifty remained within those ranges, and did not come with such solid volume. This rejection, okay. So, Bank Nifty was more clear today, providing solid confirmation of buying and selling everywhere. Now, any of you who have any questions can ask them